Putain les gars, j'ai des bugs réseau, ça casse les couilles, putain.
Just look at this thing.
Ouais,
It's
ouais, ouais,
huge.
ouais. Porte à côté de... Ok, c'est là. Ouais, non, mais frère, c'est quoi ces... les bugs réseau qu'il y a, mon pote, tu peux même pas tester. Et j'ai lancé 2 fois, c'est la troisième fois que je lance le live. C'est la première fois que ça m'arrive sur PS5. Je sais ce qu'ils foutent. Je sais ce qui se passe. Bon, ben voilà, on va continuer comme ça, tranquillou. Bah attends, c'est chiant parce qu'à chaque fois je relance, donc je refais le truc. Ça fait 10 minutes que je joue, il y a eu deux freezes en. Ouah, mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ce délire, mon frère? 8 minutes là, t'as la durée. 8 minutes, ok. Attends. Ouah, putain. Ok. Ok. Ok, donc je relance pour la troisième fois le live de la suite du jeu, évidemment. Ça freeze. Je sais pas pourquoi ça freeze, mais ça freeze. Il doit y avoir un bug sur les réseaux. Là, je suis sur du Bouygues en ce moment. Bouygues Télécom, il doit y avoir des. Ok. Bouygues Télécom. Alors attendez. Je vais regarder. Je sais pas trop comment on va faire. J'espère que ça va marcher parce que. Si ça freeze à chaque fois, les gars. Ça, on est dans la suite du jeu en fait, hein. Pour l'instant, hein, parce que si ça freeze encore, c'est tombé, gros. Ça va me gaver, ça. Ça va me gaver, très honnêtement, ça va me gaver. J'ai lancé un live, gros. T'es dans le jeu, t'es à bloc, machine, tu dis, ouais, la connexion elle est perdue. On est sur PS5, mon pote, avec une connexion Wi-Fi 5 GHz, mon pote. C'est un truc pas négligeable, quoi. Alors, attends. Ouais, bon, on va faire comme ça. On va continuer, on va continuer par là, tout simplement. Voilà. Et voilà, voilà. Ah, c'est chiant parce que je suis dans le jeu, je suis en train d'écouter. Ils ont dit 2-3 trucs vite fait là. Et finalement, on se fait pisser dessus, quoi.
Another one. There must be something important behind it. I can feel it.
I can feel it. Là, il doit y avoir un truc. On va voir, hein, j'espère que ça va pas. Ça va pas repartir en couille, quoi. Yeah. Qu'est-ce que j'ai 4 minutes supprimer, ça sert à rien. Moi je fais des lives, je fais pas des lives des 4 minutes, mon pote. Attendez, les gars. Je sais pas ce qu'il y a, je te jure, je sais pas ce qui se passe. Un truc qui va pas. Voilà, attendez, je regarde parce que je te dis, ça fait 3 fois que je relance. Et au bout de 3 fois, ça commence à me gaver, gros. Ok, bon, allez, vas-y, on va voir. On va voir, j'espère que ça va pas prise, qu'il va pas y avoir un problème. Sinon. Ah.
I remember returning home with a pair of perfect sticks. We wanted to turn them into training swords.
Oh, that's right. We stood there, frozen, staring at something huge in the main hall.
Dans le hall principal, ok. Il voulait monter là, non? Hop.
It was a giant aquarium with a living mermaid in it.
Impossible. It must have been something else.
Ah ah. C'est moche. C'est moche.
Oh, of course, that mortifying hoax presently taking up space in our front yard.
Well, fine. Your memory's better than mine. But I'm sure we started examining it immediately. And someone else was around too.
It was my mother. She asked what I thought of the artifact.
You were really concentrating and holding something in your hand.
I inspected it with a magnifying glass and was able to confirm it was made of two different skeletons.
Ouais, sûrement.
The mermaid was a fake.
And so it was time to smash the thing. Your mother took a hammer and...
Slow down, John. That's not how it happened. I remember other people joined us.
D'autres rejoints.
The workers took the artifact and placed it into the cabinet of curiosities. It became part of Mother's collection of fakes. She always said that the truth lies in the details. This mermaid helped me to learn that.
Ah, la porte. C'est vrai, regardez, en fait ça c'est le jeu. Je voulais faire un truc là. Si t'en suis le... Alors il y a ce truc là.
Another one. There must be something important
Il y a un.
behind it. I can feel it.
Ça veut dire que c'est des enquêtes qui durent quand même 3 heures. Hein. Donc c'est quand même du boulot, hein, c'est quand même pas mal. Une, deux... Donc on a l'enquête d'en bas, on a cette porte qu'on a faite. On a... Ah oui, donc en fait il nous reste 2 enquêtes. Parce qu'en fait, au plus... Il y a un truc que je voulais dire sur ce jeu qui est quand même très intéressant. C'est le jeu avance par rapport aux enquêtes de la maison. Tu vois, tu débloques des souvenirs et en débloquant, tu débloques des portes. Tu vois, donc là j'ai voulu faire le tour. Et donc là, en fait, il reste plus que... On a cette porte qu'on va faire, donc cette enquête qu'on va faire là sur cette vidéo-là, entièrement. Et on a d'autres enquêtes qui sont... Enfin, il y a une autre enquête qui est là, regarde, tu vois, c'est quand la porte est brimée, comme ça veut dire que c'est l'enquête générale du jeu principal. Qui est quand même pas dégueulasse, les gars, très honnêtement. C'est quand même pas dégueu, parce que à chaque enquête, c'est du bon plus de 3 heures, quoi. Donc tu as quand même en tout 5 enquêtes. Et en plus de ces 5 enquêtes, comme je te disais, tu as des missions secondaires comme celle-ci, tu vois, à faire. Tu vois, mon histoire c'est là. Et à faire, voilà, tu vois, à faire. Ça, c'est des affaires différentes que tu peux faire aussi en plus du jeu, quoi. En plus du jeu de base, plus les affaires de quand tu vas chez les keufs, comme je te dis, tu peux aller faire des trucs, là. Mais c'est vrai que voilà, tu peux. Ça, c'est des affaires, je pense, qui sont quand même assez conséquentes, parce que les affaires secondaires ont quand même un trait assez sympathique de jeu. C'est-à-dire, si on en conçoit qu'on est sur du 3 heures à 3 heures, entre 3 et 4 heures d'enquête sur une enquête du jeu principal, je pense que sur les affaires, donc les enquêtes là qu'on voit là, tu vois, l'enquête principale, c'est ici. Là, on va taper sur un autre truc, il y aura encore un autre truc, tu vois. Et là, c'était les affaires secondaires. Ça veut dire que si tu veux faire aussi les affaires secondaires, il y a quand même du taf, quoi. Il y a quand même du taf. Et c'est un truc que je disais, parce que ça fait 2 fois, là, je le redis pour la 3e fois. Un truc qui est quand même très important à prendre en compte, c'est que ce jeu, il coûte que 45 € par rapport au jeu que je suis en train de faire, là, Astérix. Je sais pas si quand je dis Astérix Obélix, il me bloque le truc, je sais pas, je dirais, il y a un truc, tu vois. Il coûte quand même 40 euros le jeu que je suis en train, l'autre jeu là que je fais là, en 2D, et c'est beaucoup moins prenant que celui-là, quoi. Tu vois, c'est là c'est que de la giflette sur de la giflette, quoi. Si tu veux des giflettes, celui-là pour rapport qualité-prix, le jeu est sympa, les mécaniques de combat, c'est sûr, t'es pas habitué, il y a de la réflexion tout le temps, tout le temps. Mais là, moi maintenant qui connais le jeu, là maintenant, tu vois, je sais que voilà, je vais me balader, quoi. Je vais me balader, je saurai à peu près où aller, quoi. Mais après, tout est relatif, puisque on sait jamais trop comment ça va se passer. Et donc voilà, donc je trouve que le jeu est sympa, le jeu est vraiment sympa, la carte est quand même assez... Il y a quand même pas mal de trucs, tu vois. Ça veut dire que la 4e enquête, elle va se passer vers là, tu vois. Puisque là, on n'a rien ouvert. Ici aussi, la 5e, elle va se passer là, avec la dernière. Et tu peux aussi te balader et gonfler le manoir. Parce que moi, le manoir, j'ai rien mis dans le manoir. C'est-à-dire que tu peux acheter des trucs dans le manoir pour le rendre plus attractif, plus sympathique. Et c'est vrai que je n'ai absolument rien fait, quoi. Et donc, je trouve que pour le rapport qualité-prix, très honnêtement, de ce jeu-là, t'as beaucoup plus à faire avec que celui que je suis en train de faire, la Astérix et Obélix. Franchement, très honnêtement, c'est du pipi de poney là, l'autre. Mais bon, c'est juste du bourrinage. Je trouve que ça vaut cher, hein, ça vaut cher leur jeu. Celui-ci, par contre, il est très 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 sympathique. Très sympathique, même s'il a fallu que je relance 2 fois le live. J'espère que ça va pas recracher, parce que là, si ça recrache, ça va me rendre fou. Là, c'est bon. À un moment donné, on fait des lives de 200 heures, frère. Je veux dire, si c'est pour que le machin il crache, et que je fasse 8 milliards de vidéos sur la chaîne parce que la mécanique elle est pas là. Ça va me faire littéralement chier, quoi, tu vois. Donc on va voir. J'espère que ça va pas rebugger. Mais en tout cas, on est vraiment dans la suite de ce qu'on a fait On est dans la suite du jeu. T'as raté juste 2 trucs. Fais des dialogues avec un personnage, bien sûr. Alors je te dis ça en espérant que ça va pas bugger, parce qu'en fait, t'as beau avoir l'habitude de faire des lives pendant tout le temps, tous les jours, tout le temps. Le jour où ça part en couille le réseau, t'es pas bien, tu vois. En fait, il y a un mec, quand je suis arrivé, il m'a donné celui-là. Amour, mort et coordonnées. Voilà. On m'a demandé l'aide à la faire. Là. Voilà. Il y a un mec qui m'est venu me parler de ça. Mais ça, tu le verras pas sur la vidéo, puisque le jeu, il a frisé, tu vois. Donc, non, pas le jeu, la connexion. Excuse-moi, la connexion a frisé. Ce jeu ne frise pas du tout pour l'instant. Il n'y a pas eu de problème de ralentissement. Il y a juste des problèmes de visio PNJ quand tu es sur la map, mais sinon ça va.
Ah yes, my mother's studio. She was an authenticator, and this was her cabinet of curiosities.
I never saw the point. What does it matter if some artifact is real or not? It still exists.
I remember this cozy blanket. It was perfect for...
Wigwam! Oh, that was a joy to build them. Imagining ourselves as wayfarers on the other side of the world.
Clearly, it was deliberately torn. I wonder why someone would do that. The Tulpa, Studies in Tibetan Mentalism. An impressive number of bookmarks. Someone was rather obsessed with this subject. The full plate armour of Sir Robert Saunford. I was told my father won it in a wager.
Armour is armour, but look at his sword. Oh, how badly I wanted to wield the blade. Maybe you take it instead of your pistol.
And this one was brought from a German museum. They claimed it belonged to Vikings. Nonsense, of course. Vikings never had horns on their helmet. The so-called mummy of a Persian princess. The defrauders did good work, but missed one small detail. It's the mummy of a man.
Look, it's Roger. This jolly old man's well preserved. Even looks refreshed.
I doubt he drew much interest at the auction.
That's for the best. I'd be upset if he fell into the wrong hands.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So many calling cards. Mycroft liked to keep useful people at hand.
Ça, il va falloir le lire pour faire le remontage là. Ça va être chiant.
Carefully opened. Dated 24th of April, 1869. Officer Luciano J. Placido. Reliable and driven. I recognize Mycroft's handwriting. This drawer was always closed. Only Mycroft knew how to open it.
I remember we tried to break it open and spy on him, but alas, had no success. Maybe today's the day.
I'm starting to remember something. Oh, I remember these. We used them to spar together until Mycroft found out and forbade us from using real weapons. One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable. Mother said this was among the hunting trophies of a Scottish Viscount.
So he tried to persuade everyone that his forest was inhabited by these beasts. It would have been thrilling if it were actually true.
(1852), Bingley, West Yorkshire. This photo caused a lot of fuss. My mother spent some time to prove it was a fake. Another fake Holy Grail. Its owner claimed to be the heir of King Arthur.
Oh, King of the
Scarcely
King.
believable.
King of the
He
King.
also insisted a deadly rabbit was hunting him.
Uh-huh. Ok. Oh.
Watkinson and Holman, Chapter 1, by Wallace de Orham.
Oh, Mycroft. He always acts so serious, but then reads tripe like this.
John, if I remember correctly, you couldn't put this book down.
It's a pity how many amazing things are missing from this room.
Il y a encore un truc là. Ah, pas les mentales. Mycroft n'appréciait pas les méthodes du docteur et lui faisait pas confiance. Oh, t'as un carnet d'affaires. Attends, déjà, je vais changer garde-robe. Je peux changer ou pas? Grosse beau comme ça. Non, pas ça. Plutôt ça. Ça, c'est le jeu de beige.
Ah, the memory comes back. We snuck about watching him.
He closed the drawer and went to the hall. We were like two shadows crawling behind him.
painting on the wall was slightly atilt. He stopped and straightened it. Then he threw some logs into the fire and sat in his armchair to read.
It's as boring now as it was then. I'm sorry, Sherry, but I think that's it.
Wait, John, we never use the fireplace in the mornings. What if... A bit of juniper in the fireplace created a soothing atmosphere. It's the little things, isn't it? I think this is what we're looking for.
Ah. Et what?
We made it. So what's there?
Oh, c'est easy. Easy pour un génie.
Single malt whiskey, Mycroft's favourite. Gifted by Queen Victoria herself. Dossiers on the most influential people on Cordona. Mycroft always had a habit of building files on everyone he met. Otto Richter. This one is rather thick. Mycroft can be truly dogged in his research. I used this ladder to look at the top shelf, right? On the day of Mother's breakdown upstairs.
Right you are, Sherry.
We heard a noise. I can't recall of exactly what, and we didn't have a great view from behind the statue. The books and papers from the table somehow ended up on the floor. It's coming to the surface. I feel it.
Ah, ça y est, c'est l'heure de faire le fou. C'est l'heure de faire le fifou, les gars. Tu fais le fifou? Oh yeah. Tu fais le fifou? Oh yeah. Tu fais le fifou? Oh yeah, yeah. Tu fais le fifou? Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Tu fais le fifou? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Tu fais le fifou? Oh yeah, yeah. Attends, bouge pas, fils. Hop, hop. Ah. Tu m'as l'air d'être un ouf. Alors attends. C'est carnet d'affaires. Hein. Investigation. Docteur en médecine, diplômé de l'Ahlig al-Babouche. Alors, John, c'est... Putain, c'est quoi ça par contre? Oh, ce serait plus ça en fait. Nous avons décidé de jouer avec les nouveaux artefacts. Vu qu'ils s'est trouvés sur l'étagère du haut. J'avais pris une échelle pour les atteindre. La statue obscure l'a vue. Ok. Les papiers et les livres de la table de travail ont atterri par terre, mais je ne sais pas comment.
You're not even trying, Sherry.
Concentrate. Concentrate. Oh, je me concentre. Ok. Là, c'est ça, regarde. Il a pris l'échelle. Voilà. Voilà. Ça va.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. You're not even trying, Sherry.
Concentrate. Ok.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Ah merde, il enlève. Ah non, c'est bon.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Ça va, il y a pas 50 trucs.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate. You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Attends. Oh, mais c'est ça alors.
You're not even trying, Sherry.
Concentré. Et c'est pour te faire chier qu'ils te font ça en fait. Voilà ta mère.
Come on, Sherry. Let's go outside.
حلق الباب صابين.
Did you hear that? Come here, Sherry.
You call this progress? Charlatan, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
So there was a quarrel between them.
Ça c'est produit après l'incident. Ok.
I heard a noise in the hall. Let's check it out.
Check it out.
One of the most
Oh, ça,
ridiculous
c'est
fakes I ever saw.
Ah, c'est
Its
moche.
owner insisted it was a polar bear. He
C'est
thought the white
moche.
paint on the brown fur
Vas-y, on
wasn't
s'en bat les
noticeable.
couilles. Ouais. Il y a encore un fistolage encore.
Sherry, look!
Je tombe en noir de حلق
An
الباب.
invitation that comes with a mask.
La curieuse conversation. Ah, ça c'est le fameux commandant de Kurtz. Se trouve sur Turquoise, Hélène, en face de l'abbaye de Cordona, dans le nord du Grand Saint. Je ne sais pas. Alors, en face de l'abbaye de Corona. Du Corona, c'est ça. En face. Attends, si je fais ça. Il se trouve sur Turquoise, Hélène, en face de l'abbaye Corona. Non, c'est pas là.
We
Ouais.
can't. It's this, Sherry.
Alors, attends, par contre. Ah, il faut un costume alors. Ok. Ah, il est là, le petit costume, Gangsta Love. Alors, donc. Ça va venir. Alors, il se trouve sur Turquoise Hélène en face de la ville. Là. Donc, c'est bien là. Hein. Turquoise Hélène. Donc là, on peut pas y aller. Ah, je suis obligé d'aller à pied. Bien joué. Let's go. Ok. Que j'ai le dégaine, mon pote. Oh, yeah. Je vais faire de là à de là. Bonjour. Ouh, j'arrive. À son petit manoir de Depp. C'est là le manoir. Hein. Attends. Là. Là, fils. Bonjour.
Can I ask you a question? I have nothing to hide, sir, but I've never heard of this.
Alors le mec il vient de dire je n'ai jamais entendu parler. Ah putain il y a peut-être un masque sinon. Ah ouais il y a un masque là. Oh la dégaine de merde. Oh la dégaine des M. Le mec dit désolé j'en ai jamais entendu parler. Alors que les mecs on est chez eux frère. C'est pas ils nous prennent vraiment pour des connards. Ce sont des connards. J'ai envie de leur pisser de hush. Ouais.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir. Oh, c'est quoi ce cul en face? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce petit cul qui est en face?
Enjoy the evening, sir. There is still plenty of time before the grand finale.
All right.
Ouais, tu crois que tu peux me la faire la face en mode? Oh là là, ce cul. La coquine. Ah, coquine. Ah, claque sur le cul là. Ah, bah. J'ai envie de me claquer les fesses. Ah ouais, je vais te claquer les fesses. C'est pas l'ambiance.
What if I write an article about these people here? Can you help me gather information about Cordona's elite?
You have such pretty hands.
Oh là.
What can you do with them?
Imaginez que ma bouche déjà.
My goodness, Sherlock.
Après, je te
They
laisse
made
ma
a
queue
blood
et ça avance.
No, John, it's definitely not
John.
blood, just wine. Cahors it, I guess.
I've worked up an appetite since the last party.
Tu as envie de nasse? Ah, il va se faire sucer le fils.
I wasn't sure you'd come.
Ça va. Laissez-les les gonzesses.
Werner, I see you are not yourself.
The more time you spend here in Cordona, the more I feel it my duty to bring you into our world and show you all we have to offer.
And what is on offer today?
Pleasure, indulgence, relief, and relaxation. You've earned some time for yourself, have you not?
Those who know me would say I'm incapable of it.
Nonsense. I refuse to believe there is anyone permitted to know Sherlock Holmes.
You may be right.
Then free yourself from inhibition and expectation. The night is young, and so are the guests. You should try to enjoy both. It's not healthy for handsome men to spend every night alone, and certainly not in a house filled with such melancholic memories.
I must admit, my travels have proven more taxing than expected. I'm less confident in my life and myself. A time of relaxation seems a distant dream.
So can I tempt you with a physical aid to your moral consolations? Wine, of course. Something to smoke? Or perhaps an artificial paradise? Yes, something more spiritual. A potentiator to sharpen the mind. A 7% solution of, well, that'd be telling, but you must try it.
My mind is my most valuable asset, and a finely tuned instrument I will not risk impeding its function. My ultimate duty is to provide the world with truth, and I do that perfectly well as is.
Duty?
Uh-huh.
You've never cared about that before.
Of course I do. Exposing a lie, revealing a fact, that is a moral responsibility.
That's not morality. Morals are what happens afterwards when truth collides with consequence. Do you ever follow up on cases you solved? Do you ever see what happened next, visit the victims, ensure justice is served in the courts? And how do you choose where to direct your attention? Are there not deserving causes to which your brilliance could be applied but isn't?
You ascribe me more power than I possess. I have a narrow skill set and work within that mandate. What occurs afterward is irrelevant.
With every action or inaction, you place a finger on the scales of morality. Many in the city would see you as abdicating your responsibility.
I haven't.
Not me, of course. Morality is subjective, just like truth. There is little to be gained from indulging in it, and far better things to indulge in. Now I must insist on easing any burdens I've placed upon your shoulders. Show yourself a kindness, and try this rather delectable concoction.
Ah, putain, c'est magnifique.
If this solution truly does assist with thinking, then perhaps it would be puerile to overlook an opportunity to study it. I'll take it with me.
Yes, Sherlock. Very good. And now, our evening begins in earnest. I just remembered. I'm sorry, Sherlock. My mind's delightfully impaired. Please take this key. It opens the altar room, past the library.
Pardon? Altar room? What now, Werner?
Go quickly and find our Fabio. Only you can make him talk. I'll join you in a minute.
Il est défoncé l'autre. Son les coquines.
Manchos had to enforce the masks after the scandal. Manchos had to enforce them.
Ça va? Nick, c'est violeux là.
Manchos had to enforce.
We've got to fall back, Sherlock. I think they're suspicious. Or they were checking you out.
Manchos had
Ah,
to.
ça va, détends-toi. Ah,
That's what I like about this party. Bring me more dirt, Sherry. One more piece, and I can expose these base hedonists.
tu préfères avoir envie de Nas ou de Nas?
Curtains do not guarantee privacy.
And you still need a crack, despite being ethereal.
Mais pourquoi tu cherches là? Il y a une meuf juste à côté de toi avec un petit cul sympa là. Claquerait les fesses.
Do you know what was here before Manchiosa's family?
Je m'en bats les couilles. Merde. Il fait jour déjà? Il faisait nuit quand même. Putain, on est dans un casino, on voit pas le temps passer.
Enjoy the event, sir.
Oula. Dion. Claire Bob, ça va bien.
My God. Was he here this whole time?
Ah ouais. Tu as envie de Nas?
Oh, these crime scenes always outdo my imagination. Oh, these crime scenes always outdo my imagination.
This crude tattoo partially covers a slave branding. A blunt force trauma may have suffered an internal hemorrhage. This golden handle has a bloodstain on it. The dagger is heavy and sharp, but lacks balance. This worm-like sigil has been drawn with his own blood.
Sang des lâches.
The wound is deep. A precise strike reached the heart.
Ah.
The victim has clenched the fabric so firmly in his fist that it's nigh impossible to remove it. He died right here. The herbs here are Salvia divinorum. This oil has a the ointment smells mouse-like. I presume it is an aphrodisiac. Werner, care to explain what is going on here?
On nights like these, it's not unusual for some attendees to be exuberant. It's part of the appeal. Unfortunately, it appears things have gotten out of hand. Yes, some are more prone to bend the rules of morality.
That's murder. I doubt there's anything left to bend. Why did you not tell me immediately? We were chatting about trivial matters for some time.
If I'm completely honest, Sherlock, I've consumed a rather potent cocktail of substances. My attention slips and drifts. But I'm glad I thought to call for you.
You sent me a disguise.
Oh dear, did I? Well, since I found the body, Mr. Manchios has agreed that you can investigate the matter. I promise my mind will behave itself going forward.
All right. Pull yourself together, Werner.
Ah ouais, ça je vois. Putain. Damn! Je reviens. Damn! Non mais t'es... Damn! Non mais... Allez, c'est parti les gars. Let's go.
How did you discover the body? In between guzzles of alcohol?
I was set to perform in a fecundity rite with Fabio and came to inquire further. It was a staged ritual where he was to play the principle of life.
And the rehearsal was unsuccessful?
Huh. Who knows? I found him alone on the altar, his blood dripping to the floor.
And then?
Then I called Mr. Manchios. He was panicking, so I told him about you. We left the room and locked the door. Then, we were...
Filling time?
Waiting for you was stressful. We indulged in some simple comforts.
Stand up.
Overindulged, perhaps.
Were you well acquainted with Fabio, the victim?
Everyone knew Fabio, or wanted to. His was to talk with the
Oula, j'ai mis le micro dans la bouche là, fort.
Too handsome to go unnoticed. He was magnetic. Fat wallets fought for the privilege of having him. He offered the pleasures of performance and more.
When you discovered the body, was the door open?
No, it was locked. Oh, that reminds me. It's a minor detail, but the first time I came to speak to Fabio, I left without entering, having been unable to open the door.
God damn it.
Didn't have the key?
No, I had it. Don't look at me like that. I was mostly sober. I suspect there was a key in the other side of the door, blocking the lock.
That detail may very well be major, Werner. Well done. So you returned later, only to find the lock was not blocked?
Correct. After an hour had passed, I tried again and was able to unlock the door. That's when I discovered poor, handsome Fabio.
The police remain unaware of this tragic event?
Some of them may be hiding behind their masks. They conceal many things. But we didn't want the authorities to create more problems. Besides, after a few cocktails, their incompetence will have soared to new heights.
How do you know I even want the case?
I promised you relaxation. If there's one thing I know about you, Sherlock, it's that nothing soothes you more than a good mystery.
A good mystery?
Mr. Manchios is the owner of the manor, yes?
And the host of Cordona's most memorable parties. He promises even the ugliest guest a partner for the night. And for the ones with more unconventional tastes, Mr. Manchios provides other services.
What a caring person.
You cannot begin to imagine.
Parlez-moi de mon sgeg.
What about the fertility ritual? There was something about Fabio being a principle of life.
Fabio was supposed to portray the beauty of life's origin. Flowers, oil. Not this travesty that seems straight out the Inquisition.
So this ritual is not the fertility rite. What was it meant to look like?
It begins with a woman lying naked in a flower bed on the altar. She represents Gaia, the earth. As I cover her in oils, we chant for the principle. As our calls reach a climax, Fabio enters and copulates with her. After he finishes, I stab her with a dagger. That part's just pretend, of course.
But the intercourse is not?
I did not expect you to be such a prude. Are you a virgin? It is nothing to be ashamed of, but it would explain the color of your cheeks. The fertility rite marks the start of our festivities. The principle of life is beautiful, intimate, essential. It must not be stopped.
Yet it appears that someone did stop it. What about the naked woman? Can you tell me anything about her?
Oh yes, Matista. She's one of Fabio's compatriots and a performer too. I haven't seen her today, actually.
Ok, c'est génial. Voilà. Alors, Fabio a été sacrifié sur l'autel en cours d'un rituel à la con. Ah, ça c'est génial. Alors, ça c'est bon, ça c'est bon, ça c'est bon. Ok. Tu m'as l'air d'avoir envie de nas.
Enough cigars to burn down the entire mansion.
Carrément.
Why don't people tidy up after themselves?
Ah.
An open wound spoiled the carpet. Blood. A sturdy bottle met a not-so-sturdy human. It didn't break only because it was unopened.
Ok. You goddamn a fucking genius. Souhaite que j'aille à la rencontre de quelqu'un dans la salle de l'hôtel. Qu'est-ce que j'en ai à foutre?
What about a quick pillow fight?
Identical to the robes the guests are wearing.
Uh-huh.
The pitcher is empty, but with puddles around it.
Ok. C'est génial.
Blood clots are adhered to the sides of the drain.
Tu sens à sécher sur la bande, c'est que vraiment ça fait un bail qu'il est mort le bordel.
Props, decorations, and tools for a more detailed set. This is a different ritual.
How can anyone accept such behaviour?
Des cassos.
A useful tool for a disguise arsenal.
I goddamn genius, man. Run again. Fuck around.
Handcrafted and luxurious cufflinks. There's also a note. For my Fabio, Manchos. The key is similar to the one that Vogel gave me. The capital F on the key fob might refer to Fabio.
Mm-hmm.
Would you recognise me in one of these? I suppose not.
similar to the guests' robes, apart from the bloodstains.
Alors.
This elaborate box must be for the ritual dagger.
Sur le cadavre, il y a un truc. Ah.
The sign reminds me of the astrological symbol for Mars. This one looks like a twisted symbol of Venus, drawn in a hurry.
Putain, merde, c'est pas ça, on s'en bat les couilles, ça. La victime serait... Ah.
A person leaned against the doorframe. They left a smudged trail of blood. A bloody handprint on an armchair. The wounded person was here for some time. There appear to be no further traces leading to the altar.
So, Sherry, do you have any ideas about the case?
Ah, je suis un monstre. Je suis un tueur à gages de talent intellectuel. Appelle-moi Jesus Christ. Du talent, fiche. Mais qui est Jésus? Je sais pas. Ah, je crée comme une merde. Ah, école. Ah, il ferme comme un fils de lâche. Voilà, la bouteille peut-être. La bouteille. Il se lave les paluches. Là il jette sa merde. Ah. Ah, il jette sa merde. Putain, elle est balèze celle-là par contre. Tac, tac, tac. Tac. Il en manque encore. Ah ouais, validé pour. Oh, je suis un tueur.
Used as a weapon during a scuffle in the smoking lounge. Then, to ensure no one would interrupt, the murderer locked the door.
Comme un lâche.
The unconscious body of the victim was moved to the altar room. Once the body was on the altar, the murderer thrust the dagger into the victim's heart. Symbols were drawn with the blood. The wardrobe was used to hide the bloodied robe from anyone's eyes. The killer washed himself and took a clean robe from the hanger before leaving.
C'est ça.
Are you all right? You're on the floor, not moving.
I think I know what happened here.
Ah. Je pense être un putain de génie. Après, chacun sa merde. Voilà. Le meurtrier était en possession d'une clé qui ouvre la porte. La keys. Il paraît que le meurtrier avait sa propre clé. Si je parviens à dresser une liste des individus possédant la clé de la salle de linge, je pourrais ainsi réduire le nombre de suspects potentiels. Potentiels. Tu es un murder.
I'm starting to put the pieces together.
Fabio was stabbed.
I see nothing gets past you, Werner. Yes, he was stabbed, but only after being knocked out in the next room and placed here. I do not yet know why.
So, who's responsible?
Well, it was one person working alone, and the murderer has now donned a robe. He or she could be hiding in plain sight. We have lost time, Werner, but your discretion may prove to be a benediction after all.
Ouais, par contre, il y a moyen de changer la gueule, enlever les masques là. Non.
The murderer had to have access to this room.
Les mecs avec
After
des
the
masques,
crime,
ça me fait de
he
la peine.
used his own key to lock the door. So, the key to the altar room.
I'm not sure.
Beaucoup de chevaux.
As a special guest, I was provided one by Mr. Manchios. He should be able to tell you of any others.
Where can I find him?
Most likely in the main hall, entertaining his guests. He has a mask with gold
étoiles
stars.
dorées.
You can't miss him. But please be discreet. We don't want to risk disturbing the revelry. I know you can untangle this mess.
Sherlock, don't forget to find the information I need before the guests leave.
On va les couilles. Alors, étoile dorée, si c'est arraché là. Hein.
Let me know if you need anything, sir.
Ah, c'est lui. Oh.
I'm a little nervous. Another glass should calm me down.
Oh, I heard the finale will be splendid.
Alors, ok, épingler la preuve. Il est censé se trouver il porte un masque orné d'étoiles d'or nerveux.
I need a rest from my insatiable wife.
My husband thinks I am playing bridge here.
J'en ai rien à foutre.
Are you able to help me?
I can't help you with that, sir.
Tu m'as l'air d'être un sombre enculeur de vache. Baiseur de poule, bâtard. Je suis sûr que tu te fais illustrer par un poney, hein, enculé. Alors, il a que les invités, l'autre mangeur de billets, là. Ah, attends, c'est de faire comme ça. Comme ça. Comme ça. Comme ça. Comme ça. Comme ça.
Look, I'm an outlaw.
Hors le Z. On est avec les gonzesses. Ah, c'est en fait l'œil, c'est. L'œil, c'est. Il nous putain utiliser le mode concentration, voilà. Voilà. Et le truc en 3 là, c'est statistique. Donc, comment jouer parler à l'individu clé. Voilà. Donc, voilà, c'est l'œil qui va nous dire où il est ce canard.
Kurt Manchios, I presume. I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, you must be the one Werner told me about. What a sweet voice you have. It must belong to a handsome young man. Can I call you Sherlock?
As you wish, Mr. Manchios. Mr. Vogel asked me to help you. The body in the altar room requires answers, and quickly. I suspect the murderer to still be here.
What? Lower your voice. I don't want anyone to hear us.
I need to find all those who had the key to the altar room. As far as I know, Mr. Vogel, Fabio, and you had access to it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Also, Matista and Santos.
Santos? Who is that?
Santos Pinchetti, my major domo. In his opinion, at least.
I'd like to speak to Mr. Pinchetti and Matista. Do you have somewhere I might have a private conversation with them?
Of course, of course. Let me think. Matista is entertaining the guests somewhere, and Santos... Oh, yes. He will be busy with the servants. Or the cook. What's that noise? What's going on? Freeze! You're under arrest.
Oh yeah. What the fuck? Bullshit. Les condés ils sont là les gars. Excellent.
Look at you. Committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologize for the inconvenience.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in this letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes? Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
What the fuck? Cela pose problème.
Is there something wrong with that? Do you know something about her?
I was working on the paperwork of her case while you still had milk on your lips.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
You must help me. It would mean a great deal to me if you could find any information about that day.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
We should have listened to the guests there. Now I have nothing to write about.
Ah oui, ça, là, c'est parce que j'ai pas suivi son truc. Bon, c'est des petits trucs à la con. J'avais déjà essayé, c'était relou.
Back on track to solve the case.
Je pense que ça te fait des thunes pour débloquer. Bon, je lis pas, hein, je m'en bats les couilles, je me sers des indices en direct. Trop un génie pour lire. Pinchetti est un suspect qui doit être arrêté et interrogé. Posséder une clé. Détail qui a omis de la déposition. Ce fils de lâche. Attends, par contre. Il y a trop de défauts là. Voilà. Fabio a été tué dans un meurtre rituel. Afin de servir de diversion pour le... Ouais, plutôt ça, ouais. Je dirais plutôt ça, ouais. Ouais, je suis en train de crafter. Voilà. Vas-y, nous casse les couilles. Alors,
Look, I found Werner.
Vernet.
Werner, are you all right?
Oh, yes, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here. I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
Fournir des preuves, fils.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I'm not supposed to know anything about this. I can't follow you here.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti.
Do I know him?
The major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you?
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
C'est que parler des individus clés.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista. But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
Petit sein. Ah ouais, elle s'est scarifiée la meuf. Oh, elle s'est fait bouffer le coup. Wow, t'es menotté aussi. Fais enchaîner plutôt.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin.
Tout à fait.
The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes. I know I can handle the news.
Vas-y, c'est bon, ok. Ah, carnet mental là. Oh, attends. Carnet mental, pas les mentales plutôt. Le corps de Matista présente des hématomes résultant de ses interactions brutales avec ses invités. Ouais, mais... c'est un petit peu ce qu'on a depuis tout à l'heure, quoi.
Good day, Mr. Manchios. I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers, the new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first.
Toujours, alors, pif de poney. Porte du maquillage, ok. Irritation due à la teinture. Ah ouais, c'est dégueulasse. Se branle 20 fois par jour. Chaussures très chères.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
All true laborers, I see. Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
Ouais, par contre, je sais pas pourquoi, mais lui, j'ai l'impression qu'il sent mauvais, mais bon. Là, on est que dans le, ouais, on est dans du taf là, le taf de la mission en fait, des preuves à prendre en compte qui sont pas négligeables bien sûr. C'est vrai que lui il paraît tout du gars sale, tu vois, mais c'est ça dans le jeu qui fait que quand ça paraît tout du gars sale.
I appreciate your cooperation, Mr. Manchios. Wait just a moment, I have something to check.
Palais mental. Justement, autre chose, c'est suffisamment préparé pour la soirée de débauche qui comptait passer. Ouais, il était prêt quoi. Fabio a blessé. Attends, lors de leur intégration dans le fumoir, Fabio a blessé. Ouais, plutôt. Ouais, plutôt ça, ouais. Ouais, ça va être chaud là. Par contre, celui-là, il va être chaud lui. Ouais. Tout le monde est au Habs, c'est bon? Allez. Il y avait la go là.
I know you can untangle this mess.
I know I can handle the news.
I've no idea about that. You'd better ask someone else. I've no idea about that. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about.
T'inquiète, on va y
I've
arriver.
no idea about that.
Calme-toi.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
Tout à fait.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else. I've no idea about that. That's not something I know much about. You'd better ask someone else.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Palais mental. On a du stuf les gars, on a du stuf. Le boulot il se passe essentiellement ici en fait.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. I've nothing to say about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only
Tout à
to
fait.
circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
On reçoit le 7. Là, ça, il est où ce canard?
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
Ouais, j'étais en train de me dire, il faut l'observer. Il est un peu trop bien sapé pour un connard de majordome. Accommodé, ok.
Is your greedy nature responsible for the lack of taste and attention to your appearance? The cheap makeup, shabby and dyed clothes? How do you explain those, Majordomo?
The means to practice my profession are limited. I'm sorry you noticed it, sir.
The parties overshadowed your state. You are lucky Kurt Manchios's attention was concentrated elsewhere. In a decent household, you would be asked to leave for far less.
Yes,
Exacto.
his attention was undoubtedly concentrated on something other than my appearance.
But one detail stands out on your dirty rags and shoes. The drops of blood.
Oh, that. I don't know anything about it.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always, Fabio-centric?
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Pinchetti. We'll continue later. Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a majordomo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle. And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a majordomo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
Oh là, toi tu sens mauvais, toi.
Please let me out.
Là, dans le pavé mental, j'ai trop de trucs.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
I know I can handle the news.
I've no idea about that.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he'll use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him. I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
This area is restricted.
Continue our investigation.
Je suis d'accord, mais je fais quoi là? C'est génial. Donc il y a celui-là. Là. Ticket de guichet de preuve.
Continue our investigation while I look at the papers.
Attends. Oh. C'est la première fois que je peux rentrer là-dedans.
Did you hear Basilio?
Vas-y.
Did you hear
Attends, c'est ça ou pas?
Did you hear Basilio? Did you hear?
Ah.
In the police. Let's pretend to be cops, eh? We can just stand around and look confused.
Ouais, mais ouais, je pense que c'est pas ça la base.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
Sûr. Il est où le ticket à la con là? Oh, attends, le ticket.
This is not a ticket. This is not a ticket.
Ouais,
This is not a ticket. This is not a ticket. This is not a ticket. Don't you understand what a ticket is?
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner,
Detective.
then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second. I'll bring it to the table.
Avec plaisir.
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. Not the time for privacy. An emergency kit for boredom. Her key to the altar room. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail keys. That's not for bedtime reading. That's not for bedtime reading. Werner's personal sketchbook. This ex libris belongs to Manchios' library. The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer. This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Ah, t'inquiète. Je vais faire... Je vais reparer tout le monde. Ça va chier. Sinon c'est connard.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me?
Enculé, faut rajouter.
Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
Toi, tu pues vraiment la merde. Hein. Bon, après, il a la tête à ça aussi, tu vois. Il pue la merde.
Let's continue our chat a little later. This book, The Power of Love, Blood, and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so. Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchos?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchos could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchos. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchos.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchos?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
Oh, yeah. Matista a peut-être exécuté le rituel sur Fabio dans le but de raviver l'amour. Ah ouais, carrément. Oh, des vies de merde. Hein. Mais vous êtes vraiment des sacs à boue.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Oh, j'ai plus à mettre.
Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary.
This area is restricted.
Ok, alors, centre des affaires. Il y a un truc là.
I'm not supposed to know anything about this.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
Touché.
Ok, attends. Ah, attends. C'est se préparer pour la soirée. Ouais. Alors, là, je vais essayer de pas faire de la merde. Alors, Fabio a été tué dans un meurtre rituel. Ouais. Ça, c'est sûr. Après, l'heure de la... C'est évité ou blessé. Je fais plutôt ça. Il est là, enculé. Où?
This area is restricted.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos?
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That
Tu peux pas
was
défoncer un
Fabio.
génie.
You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on it. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
J'ai plus toujours. Ouais, je pense que
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
Early 60s.
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. Fabio played with your feelings. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way that you would have liked. You wanted to be loved, but Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You were passionate, and so you struck him. Once you understood your mistake, it was too late. You were afraid, so you staged the ritual. With such a story, you might be sentenced to a few years. It might clean your conscience, and soon the case will be forgotten.
No.
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 This is my decision. I'll talk to Constable Oswald to see what I can do.
Ouais. Tu vas finir au Hapsfist. Tu vas finir au Hapsfist.
There's no fool like an old fool.
Eh oui.
Kurt
Bien
Manchios
sûr.
did it.
Heureusement d'ailleurs.
A young boy played
La
with the
connerie
heart
est
of an old
humaine.
man. The latter couldn't handle it. The evidence I obtained clearly shows that the quarrel was not intended to end badly. It was an accident.
Showing pity towards your own kind, Holmes. Whatever.
All I'm saying is that prison won't take much away from an old and crushed man.
Fine. A big name like that will still give me a promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Impeccables.
Don't forget the file.
Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget?
Yeah.
That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
Frère, je l'avais dit gros, il y avait le... Ok. Donc c'est bien ça.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock. The case is closed and all rewards belong to you. Bravo.
It is merely
Thank you.
the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
I get enough obnoxious pontification from my brother, so please, spare me your lecture.
Forgive my love for moral philosophy. I know I tend to ramble. You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Ok. Il m'a l'air d'être dangereux. Dangereux. Alors. Nous, on doit aller حلق صابين. On doit aller chez حلق صابين. La statue, on a ouvert ici. Enfin, ici, on n'a rien fait, donc il doit y avoir encore une mission, hein, ça c'est sûr. Tu vois, on a fait la vieille ville, on a fait le grand sarail. Enfin, faut dire que la mission qu'on a faite, il y avait, c'était juste chez les keufs. Et d'un coup, j'ai eu envie de nash. Tu peux pas tâche. Fish. Si tu as envie de nash, tu peux pas tâche. Fish. Donc tu vois la dernière porte. Elle est là, regarde. Avec les portes. Ça,
Sherry, please listen to me. Sherry.
John, I always listen to you.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing, angry, like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain and truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
Ah. Alors ça c'est exactement comme dans tous les jeux, tu vois ce qui est en train de se passer là. Est-ce qu'on entend ma superbe voix par contre? Alors ça c'est exactement... Mais quelle belle voix. Je sais pas qui c'est qui fait le live, mais c'est un monstre. Ouais, donc là ça veut dire on va arriver à la fin du jeu.
I find myself awash in uncertainty. Perhaps now is not the time, with so much left to do.
Thank you, Sherlock. Thank you. Some doors can remain closed.
Cordona still calls for us, yes. And we will answer. But know this, John. One way or another, we will find ourselves back in front of this door, unable to avoid the truth any longer.
You don't have to do this. You don't have to go through. There is no coming back.
Je dois en finir.
John, my animum, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just... please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on. We'll go together.
Ouais, parce que là il faut savoir qu'en fait on aurait pu aller faire les missions secondaires et d'autres missions, développer un peu plus le jeu. Là, si t'as envie de te balader, de faire des énigmes comme on fait là. Et c'est ce que fait tous les jeux en fait, hein, en règle générale, quand t'arrives à l'heure actuelle depuis à peu près... ça c'est les nouveautés des jeux, hein, c'est comme ça que ça marche maintenant. Il faut savoir que quand tu arrives à la fin d'un jeu et que tu n'as pas forcément tout fait, pour ceux qui ont envie de tout faire, hein, bien sûr les missions secondaires et tout ça, il te dit, attends, en gros, si t'as envie avant d'aller voir la fin du jeu, tu veux pas aller te claquer 2-3 missions histoire de te mettre bien, quoi, tu vois, enfin, histoire de, voilà, de profiter du jeu. Après, pour moi, moi j'aime bien faire le jeu, je le rush pas, hein, je fais toujours des missions secondaires et tout, mais là on en a pas fait parce que les missions de base étaient tellement intenses déjà. Mais c'est vrai que tu débloques pas mal de trucs, tu peux acheter pas mal de choses. C'est-à-dire, j'ai rien acheté pour le manoir, tu vois, j'aurais pu acheter un truc, ça aurait débloqué un trophée, tu vois. Tout ça. Là, donc, on arrive à la fin. On arrive à la fin du jeu, les gars. Donc, on va voir, mais le jeu est quand même vraiment très bien. Et c'est souvent ce qu'on te dit hein, depuis 3-4 ans dans les jeux vidéo, c'est bah, t'es sûr que tu veux aller, tu veux pas être baladé avant de refaire, mais il y a sûrement peut-être des parties plus. Enfin, je vois pas pourquoi l'intérêt d'une partie plus sur ce jeu, mais ce jeu est sympa, voilà, c'est sympa. Pourquoi j'ai pas fait de mission secondaire ni les petites missions à côté, c'est parce que ça revient au même mécanisme que ce qu'on fait du jeu de base, tu vois. Donc j'ai dit ça sert à rien de forcément passer par d'autres missions pour élargir le jeu. Le jeu tu l'élargiras toi-même si tu l'apprécies. Mais je vois pas l'intérêt, très honnêtement, d'élargir le jeu si c'est toujours les mêmes mécaniques de jeu, parce que de toute façon c'est un inspecteur, donc c'est sur les mêmes mécaniques. Allez, on va voir.
Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden? Maybe you forgot it for your own good.
Attends, ils m'ont sapé autrement là. J'ai pas compris ce qui s'est passé.
That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London, correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, Ah yes, the statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. What a pity she never had the opportunity to finish.
Il y a un truc, c'est que je peux pas courir. Donc, Alors.
Is that the raft we made together, John?
Looks more like a pile of rotten planks now.
Et je sais pas où aller, là, c'est génial. Non, c'est pas là. Je fais du footing. Shooting. Enfin du shooting. Du footing. Ah. What the fuck is this? Ok. Il y a bien un truc là, non? Ah.
Come here, Sherry. Hurry!
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Richard a son humeur à des médocs.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
Ah, là, il faut retourner dans la baraque, là. Je crois. Allez, là-bas. Mais quelle belle voix.
Don't go, Mother, wait. I remember this artifact from Mother's collection. Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
God damn it. I don't give a shit, man. I don't believe in.
Here it is. We'll just borrow it for a while.
Did you hear that? Someone's coming. Let's take a peek.
Ah, mais c'est ce qu'on a vécu dans le jeu en fait.
You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sorry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
Sherlock, I'm here. Come closer.
J'arrive, cousine.
Sherry.
Coming, Mother. This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them. The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
Déjà, c'est cool d'avoir un jardin. Putain.
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea.
Nice and Ryan's gonna fucking win.
Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry. Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom! I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No! Don't you dare say such things! You are a liar like all the others!
Mother!
Attends, la pousse, elle se lève, la meuf.
You aren't fooling me!
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie!
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please, stop! It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry! Give me my stuff, I can't tell you!
Ah ouais. Elle a vraiment un problème psychologique, la meuf. Ah, c'est le gars qui l'a sauvé. C'est que la meuf, elle était assise sur son truc roulant, on l'a poussée alors qu'elle pouvait se lever, cette canasse. Quel sac à bite. Alors, on revient toujours au même. Hein. John est le tueur. J'ai tué Mère. On n'est pas responsable, c'est l'autre qui est une jobarde. Sa mère, c'était une putain de jobarde, quoi. L'idée de lui donner des sédatifs venait de John. Propre esprit. Pour espérer me soigner, je dois me débarrasser de John. Je suis responsable de la mort de mère. C'était mon idée de lui donner le médoc qui a provoqué la réaction allergique qui l'a tué. Ah mais gros, t'as 12 ans frère, qu'est-ce que t'en as à foutre toi? Bien. Ah ouais, c'est bon. Après que Minecraft a... Ouais, hein. Mère a été noyée par un accident. Ouais, je suis en essayant de me sauver. Bah ouais. Exactement. Voilà. Ouais, parce que sinon, il serait pas.
Sherlock, can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me.
Sherry.
You knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
Otto Richter murdered my mother, and Mycroft covered it up. Whisked me away from this place, buried me in schoolwork, and left the past to rot.
And you needed a way to cope, so I helped.
You were a lie, John, a fiction, a crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. A truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it.
Sherlock, what are you doing?
You kept me in the dark and kept your actions quiet. You enabled Richter and his untested quackery for far too long. And worse, you wanted to lock up our mother.
I wanted to give you a chance at normalcy, childhood. There was no changing what happened, no good to come of dwelling in the past.
It was lies upon lies. Otto Richter was trying to save her, but you decided he deserved to take the fall. Is that justice?
The big picture, Sherlock. The big picture. Perhaps Richter was not responsible for her fit of rage, but his treatment led inexorably to that moment. You were so fragile. I could not... I just couldn't. I chose us over him.
You know, for once I believe you. Perhaps now that the truth is out, I can actually do what you had hoped. Leave it all in the past.
Good. You have your whole life ahead of you, Sherlock. It is time you got on with it.
I was worried there for a minute, Sherry. Really worried. I didn't want to hurt you. What's so funny?
I am talking to myself, John. I think I was hurt regardless.
But we made a good team, eh? Explored every inch of this place together. Helped a lot of people. Terrorized a few too, I suppose. I think I may go so far as to say, Sherry, that I have not lived wholly in vain.
So that's it. It's over.
You've opened every door, Sherry. Faced the past you locked away. You don't need me anymore.
I know. I will miss you all the same. I don't want you to go.
Yes, you do.
Goodbye, John.
Il était pas sain d'esprit le mec quand même. Hein. C'est d'avoir un ami imaginaire, c'est chelou quand même. Clore un chapitre. Chapitre 1. C'est chapitre 1, ce jeu est un chapitre 1, donc il y en aura plusieurs. Hein. C'était vraiment sympa comme jeu. Très honnêtement, c'était vraiment très sympa.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Werner? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project. You really are beautiful.
C'est chelou quand même. C'est vraiment chelou comme portrait.
My brother returned to London soon after our disagreement. He enrolled at Cambridge University, but attends only the rare classes that hold his interest. I hear he took employment at a hospital laboratory, obsessing over his experiments. I suppose he seeks solace in the empirical truth of a chemical test. I am afraid for him. His evenings are spent alone, solving citizens' menial mysteries to pass the time. And I suspect he is growing paranoid. One of my agent's vehicles recently ignited during a surveillance operation. She was lucky to get out alive. There is only one man who could orchestrate such a feat. Or perhaps two. I saved my brother. He will never forgive me.
I found it! And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken. And I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours. And I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well. But those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for rouse?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. Badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners, my attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.
Ouais, c'est lui, mais en plus vieux. Énorme. Ah, c'était pas mal. Franchement, tu vois, j'aurais pu modéliser la maison si tu acheté des trucs et tout. Ça ressemblait un peu à ce qu'on voit là. Avec des détails et tout. Les missions secondaires, je les ai pas faites parce que le jeu il est quand même bien concentré quand même. Vraiment bien concentré. Il y a du boulot, il y a du taf, il y a du temps de jeu, c'est excellent. Franchement, pour rapport qualité-prix, excellent. Vraiment excellent, très très bon jeu. Très bon jeu, sympathique. Et c'est chapitre 1. Chapitre 1, tu vois, voilà, si j'aurais acheté, tu vois, ça ressemble à ça en fait. Je crois que ça ressemble à ça. Enfin, j'aurais remodélisé la baraque. Et bon, c'est que les gonzesses qui aiment bien faire des trucs. Quand t'es un mec en solo, tu t'en bats les couilles, frère. C'est vrai que c'est quand même plus plaisant d'avoir une maison sympathique à vivre. Qu'est-ce que je veux dire ? Ouais, donc très bon jeu, vraiment un très bon jeu. Alors attends, je vais enlever le volume général de la musique. Voilà, parce que le jeu est fini. Alors, il y a du temps de jeu, il y a vraiment du temps de jeu. C'est vraiment sympathique, c'est vraiment intéressant, c'est sympa dans le sens où il y a aussi graphiquement c'est sympa. T'as une carte open world où tu peux aussi faire mission secondaire, mission tertiaire, encore une fois, c'est quand même pas mal. Pour celui qui est vachement intéressé, mais après, à mon avis, ça va être dans la même mécanique. Je me suis servi une fois du flingue dans le jeu de base, alors peut-être que dans les missions secondaires, tu t'en sers un peu plus. Enfin, non, une ou deux fois, je crois. Non, je crois peut-être même deux fois. Mais c'est quand même vraiment très intéressant, très sympa. Je suis pas dégoûté de ce jeu, et sachant que c'est le chapitre 1, donc ça veut dire qu'il y en aura d'autres qui sortiront par la suite. Mais vu la capacité graphique, la mécanique de jeu et le temps de jeu, voilà quoi, c'est pas du viol quoi. C'est pas du viol de porte-monnaie quoi. Loin de là. Et c'était vachement sympa de faire ce jeu. Tout simplement, les amis. Bon, moi je vous dis, comme d'habitude, à toujours de suite, hein, parce que toujours en ligne. Et gros kiff sur ce jeu. Franchement, gros kiff. C'était vraiment sympa. Allez les amis. Ah, ciao ciao ciao.